G'day YouTube, how the heck are we doing? Welcome back for the fifth and final match of this Pauper League. We lost to Daryl here versing Morin. He's kept 7 cards. I think we'll go ahead and do the same. Alright, and we are versing our 4th burn opponent in this 5-match league. Crazy stuff here. Alright, let's start things off with turn 1 Lotus Petal. Sack that one for green. Utopia Sprawl over here. This will give us access to 3 mana next turn as well, which is nice. And I think I'll Silhana Ledgewalker instead of Gladecover Scout plus Sentinel's Eyes, just because we're guaranteed the damage with the Sentinel's Eyes there this way. Yeah, at the moment, Gladecover Scout would be stonewalled. Drop this one here. I guess we're supposed to Ledgewalker again. Go ahead and attack for 2 damage. We are drawing to Armadillo Cloak specifically. Opponent casts Epicure, gets a blood token, 1 damage to us. And currently no prowess triggers on this one. Let's go ahead and wait for a better spot to block. This one could also attack, and then the Gladecover Scout could be on blocking duty next turn. Well, we got plenty of mana in our deck. Thank you very much. I think let's attack like this. Might block with this Ledgewalker actually, and then reset the Lotus Petal across onto this one if need be. We do have the mana to do that. Opponent just attacking this way. Alright, we'll cash in our Gladecover Scout first off. 11 playing 15 currently. Opponent passes to us. We find a banger of a card. Ethereal Armor. Right in time. Alright, let's attack for 5. This is a 3-turn clock regardless, so we'll leave this Silhana Ledgewalker back to block. Our opponent has missed a couple of land drops as well to potentially help us out. Lightning Bolt down to 8. And Lava Dart, oh god. Opponent, there's prowess triggers you're missing. I guess they realize they're probably not going to get the prowess triggers. I think we can block this way. If our opponent does manage to blow us out, we'll see what happens, but obviously, Galvanic Lava Dart can be flashed back. There's another burn spell. So they just have lethal regardless. That's pretty poopy. Well, that did get to turn 5 without us gaining any life. So there we go. And Fire Blast as well. Yikes. Opponent had it all. Alright, you all know the drill by now. Opponent's sideboard cards include End the Festivities that can be in the main deck. Molten Rain that can destroy our lands, getting us off white mana. And potentially Flaring Pain as well. We'll talk about that a bit later. Reminder as well, if you do enjoy the video, please consider subscribing for more content like this. So, you'll know now, Crimson Acolyte comes in as an efficiency swap for Silhana Ledgewalker. And then typically I bring in my Ram Through and take out 1 Ancestral Mask, which is just a little bit slow. Can be really good in combination with Sentinel's Eyes, but we only have 2 Sentinel's Eyes, and that's not going to be a massive occurrence regardless. Here, this hand is pretty poor. Yeah, I think if we had this with First Strike as well, I'd keep. I think we can do better. Alright, well, this is better because it has lifelink, so let's definitely keep this one. Bottom the Ancestral Mask. And we'll turn to our creature to play around End the Festivities from turn 1 for our opponent. Abundant Growth drawing a Forest. A bit lame. You know what isn't lame? Scout getting past End the Festivities. That's pretty fantastic. Alright, there we go. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent Lightning Bolts us down to 17. And Reckless Impulse finding Combustion, Chain Lightning. Seems like the perfect spot to go ahead and start gaining some life. Attack for 4. Alright, opponent's not wasting any more time. They're conceding off that one. I guess because they didn't have any creatures, from what I could see, they had End the Festivities. We played around it, and you know, obviously the life gain was also massive. Let's not change anything. Get back into it. All right, so we'll go ahead and keep this one. Looks pretty decent. Epicure from our opponent. Forest, fantastic stuff. So here we can actually turn to an Armadillo Cloak after having protection into End the Festivities. God, I love Lotus Petal, man. This would be playing this creature on turn 2 without Lotus Petal, and then Armadillo Cloak would be a turn later as well. Getting your lifelink down early against burn is so valuable. Dwarven Forge Chanter from our opponent, passing to us. Play this one. Play this one. Attack for 4. No blocks from our opponent. We go ahead and gain some life. Back up to 23 here. Reckless Impulse from our opponent. Good to see they're taking another turn of setup. Mountain into Rebirth, I would assume. Yep, there it is. Can attack with the Chanter. We can trade off. Alright, so only attacks with the Chanter. Let's go ahead and block that one. 3 damage is good enough. Especially after seeing Lava Dart in the earlier games. Abundant Growth. What do we see? More Abundant Growth. Armadillo Cloak. Well, that'll be good for next turn. As it is, attack with Slippery Bogle. Up to 27 now. Not a bad place to be. Send our other scout down. I guess this is only bad into Mountain plus 4 End the Festivities, which is pretty unlikely. Alright. Forge Chanter. So we're past that. Implement of Combustion, triggering the price. Opponent attacking in. Let's go ahead and trade off this scout here as well. It's not too useful. To keep our opponent's board semi-controlled in the event of a Bushwhacker. Alright, well that's actually quite a bit more damage than Armadillo Cloak is, so we'll cast that one. Attack for 9 and go up to 31. Alright, opponent is down to 3 cards in hand. A massive mountain to climb. Galvanic Blast. They could still have effects like Lava Dart, Fire Blast, and they could definitely get a lot of damage on us. Whether or not it's lethal or not, we'll let them find out with their sequencing. So Chain Lightning, no, we cannot pay for that one. Galvanic Blast now. These guys aren't artifacts, are they? No. Well, opponent concedes and we take the 3-2. Alright, well, there you go, guys. It is that easy. Go ahead and take Lotus Petal into your leagues and you'll have a very easy time against Burn. 3 wins, 1 loss, and then a loss to Dimir there. Just given Dimir is climbing up the ranks, we should probably consider more copies of Young Wolves and maybe adjusting our sideboard, maybe also adjusting Cartouche back up to 4. Let me have a look at the percent of the metagame and see what I come up with. Alright, so here on MTG Goldfish, you can see the metagame over the last 30 days currently. See a lot of Burn, a lot of Affinity. Now I think Affinity did move away from main deck Chainer's Edict, but I guess Dimir Control did and that just didn't really happen. Just mainly for the matchup into Core Gates, because of the Squadron Hawk value and all of that. So Core Gates, Ephemerate Tron, Borosynthesizer. Let's see how this changes in the last week. So when I click on the metagame for the last 7 days, you can see the burn percentage up to 33%. Mono White Heroic splashing red. This looks like a gate deck because it's got Sacred Cat in it. Ephemerate Tron, Familiars, and Dimir Control. Maybe we'll go the last 2 weeks instead. Alright, in the last 2 weeks, you can see a few of these other decks popping up. I wonder if this is more just because it's like only counting 5/0 decks and nothing else in the metagame breakdown. But in any case, we can see a lot of burn, a decent amount of Dimir. We can see a heroic matchup, which Standard Bearer is going to be fantastic in. Affinity, Ephemerate, Tron, Familiars, Boros Synthesizer. Alright, so against Mono White Novo, or Boros Novo, or Heroic, the main card to worry about in the main deck is Benevolent Blessing. If you are bringing in your Standard Bearers, which your opponent will also be doing, not that Standard Bearer is shown here for some crazy reason, but your opponent can enchant your Standard Bearer with Benevolent Blessing, naming green or white and shutting off like all your auras from hitting your creature and shutting off their auras from being redirected to your creature. So that's a bit of an annoying one to have to deal with. This affinity list is showing main deck Galvanic Blast and Makeshift Munitions, with Shaman in the sideboard, and I'm gonna guess they have Chainer's Edict somewhere, and that's not just this. Alright, so it looks like Affinity is mostly running Galvanic Blast and Munitions as removal, maybe splashing for some Chainer's Edict in the sideboard. That's not primarily what they're about. Also notably Karklan Shaman in the main and in the side. And of course we have Dimir Control here. This one's running a few different bits and pieces compared to what we versed in this leg. Crawl from the Cellar, which I suppose makes sense. The flashback's kind of nice. It's a one-of. You can like mill it to your graveyard and then get value that way. This particular one is running Cast Down and 1 Chainer's Edict in the main, 3 Chainer's Edicts in the side. So the total of 4 Chainer's Edict for Dimir, which is a significant amount of the metagame in my opinion. Currently at like 15% in 14 days. Lastly, there's like Tron, which is probably the hardest one to play around, which can turbo fog you with their Ephemerate, with their Muldrifter, Mnemonic Wall, Ephemerate, Mnemonic Wall, and Ghostly Flicker. They can combo permanent spells and get permanent fog effects from a moment's peace. Alright, so with the main deck, I definitely think it's worth running the 4th cartouche of Solidarity in the main. If these Edict decks are jumping up in the metagame, again, probably removing a Sentinel's Eyes for that cartouche. The main reason why I'm thinking this is because you do want to win win game 1 because it does take the pressure off games 2 and 3. In most matchups, the blocker can have some sort of applicability. Maybe even win you a game against Burn if you don't punt into a fireball. Alright, so outside of that, I think given Standard Bearer is starting to be an issue again, we probably want Gutshot in our sideboard over Ram Through. I don't think Ram Through is fantastic against Burn. I was just bringing it in because I didn't really have too much else there. Standard Bearer is probably okay at 2 copies if we're running Gutshot as Standard Bearer hate. And that's mostly fine. We probably want Relic at 2, Flaring Pain at 2, Young Wolf at 2 or 3. Do we just like... Krivik's Insight is probably okay at 2. So then we can pull into question either Crimson Acolyte, Standard Bearer, or Young Wolf. We need this like Flaring Pain Relic package against Bant Ephemerate. Krivik's Insight isn't good into like mono white decks that destroy your enchantments a lot. Relic could be Dawnbringer Cleric, but I kind of like exiling more than 1 card, particularly if Dimir is a big deck. And for Dawnbringers, like remove this 1 targeted card in the graveyard right now. That costs 2 mana, and to play Relic and activate it to draw a card, exiling all graveyards, that also costs 2 mana. So it's a bit of a muchness. The only difference is I don't get a creature as a body. That should be mostly reasonable. Another option is Return to Nature. So it's a 2 mana instant with destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, exile target card from a graveyard. I don't think it's super amazing at the moment. The thing I do like about it is versatile. So if we're bringing in Graveyard Hate against a deck, we could also have that slot taking up Enchantment Hate and Artifact Hate in the sideboard as well, which can be nice. I just don't think the effect is powerful enough to warrant it currently, or at least the Graveyard effect isn't powerful enough to warrant it. Yeah, probably just Standard Bearer down to 1 copy. I'm liking Crimson Acolyte, given burn is such a high percentage of the metagame. It's like a good matchup, but Acolyte just tips it that little bit more in our favor, right? Alright, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the league and the deck changes down in the comment section below. Until next time, have a wonderful day. I'll see you then.